Welcome to Healing Banashi, a space for sharing and open conversations around healing in all its forms. I'm your host Innina. Here we explore healing in its broadest sense. We speak about practices, paths, and lived experiences, always grounded and embodied with presence, sincerity, and humanity. Today, I'm honored to have Frank Arjava Peter with us. Teacher, writer, poet, and longtime explorer of healing in many forms. Arjava has spent time in India with Osho, organized workshop for Bert Hellinger, and was vice president of the Jikiden Reiki Institute for about 20 years. He now continues to follow his own path. Today, we're talking about healing not only as practitioners, but as a way of living, personally and in the world, within and around us. I'm delighted to share this conversation with you, so make yourself comfortable and let's get started. And good morning, Ohio, Arjava. Welcome on Healing Banashi podcast. I'm pleased and honored to have you here with us. And as it's always a great pleasure to talk to you. How are you today?
Good, thank you, Innina. Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning in Japanese. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm looking forward to it every time. So let's see where this adventure takes us for those of you who are listening. What we do is we decide on a subject, but we don't really think about it and don't plan it. So we hope that something will unfold by itself.
Exactly. And, so today I just want to play around a word that is important, I guess. And because I'm very curious, when you hear the word healing, what comes to your mind first?
It's really a big subject. And as you probably imagined, it will take me elsewhere. So when I hear the word healing, I think about not any technique. There are so many techniques, beautiful, all the body work, all the work on the psycho-emotional self, there are so many levels of this. But the first thing I think about is that why do we need healing? So we need healing because somewhere deep down we seem to think that we're not okay as we are.
Mm.
And this is where we must start. We must look at this situation. How come we think that we should be otherwise, and how come we think that we are hurt?
Mm.
And is there something in us that can remain innocent and untouched, whatever happens? And perhaps if we can learn to pay attention to that, the divine spark or the essence of yourself that is completely independent of psycho-emotional hurt. So I would like to go into that a little bit deeper. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I guess we have this image of healing as fixing, you know, uh, fixing something that is what is, and almost as we project an image of ourselves that is not us to reach something, right?
Yes, so this is the basic question. The human being search for meaning, for self-realization, for finding out who we really are. That's at the base of that. But what we look at is always the surface. We always look at the things that can be improved, can be changed, can be reached, something that is outside of us, but there is something inside that makes us all the same, that is quiet and calm and never changes, kind of like the image I have of an old-fashioned wheel with all the spokes around it, and we see that that wheel moves all the time, but inside, in the center of the axis, there's just space that stays forever the same. It doesn't change, it doesn't get polluted, it doesn't get hurt, it doesn't get traumatized. So if we were to pay attention to that infinite space that is everywhere, inside of us as well as outside of us, then we're taken out of the equation of hurt, and then we're taken out of the idea that something needs healing. We know on a psycho-emotional level, there are so many traumatic events in our lives that have kind of made us psychologically, emotionally, the way we are. But there is something that never changes, that is always the same, that doesn't need healing, that doesn't need change, that doesn't need improvement. And if you learn to look at that, then all those little problems that are on the surface that appear like ripples of the sea on the surface just poof, disappear. Well, if I say they disappear, of course they don't disappear. They're still there, but they don't make a difference. So how can we find that innocence inside ourselves, that unchangeable, the essence? And this is, of course, the purpose and sole goal of all spiritual work, to find that never-changing beauty, infinity within us and without, and see if we can mix that. Mix in the sense of combining the personal, the individual, with the cosmic. So what is wrong with us? This is the big question.
Exactly.
Our religions have not really helped us. You live in Italy, in a Catholic country. I live in Greece, in an Orthodox country. I grew up in Germany. It's always the same. The religion is telling you, basically, you have sinned. Innina, you have sinned.
You start very well, right? I'm already guilty of something.
Yeah, you are guilty because you have sinned. Certain things happen, or maybe some people even think there is punishment for having sinned. But this is the first thing that we have to get rid of, this idea of guilty feelings and of sin and of having done something to ourselves with the result that we are not as we should be. How do you do that? How do you get rid of that guilty feeling? One of the things that comes to mind would be to write your guilty feelings on a piece of paper, go to the garden, make a fire and burn it, and get rid of it. Or if you live by the sea, take a big rock, imagine that this is all your guilty feelings and your sins, and just drop it and get rid of it. That might be enough by itself. Of course, there are many techniques to get in touch with the changeless, with the eternal within us. And then the healing takes on a completely new dynamic. In real life, I think healing means that we keep jumping head first into situations in our lives, relationships, work, everything, family life, that help us see, discover, and solve things that are inside of us, are not as we would like them to be. And the idea of a healer, a person who calls themselves a healer, or who practices any of the wonderful healing modalities, I would always ask myself, and I did that obviously to myself, how come I got into this line of work? Why do I do it? If I don't have that desire or that feeling that something is wrong, I would never do this.
Right.
Yeah, so there would be no point if you feel everything is beautiful as is. You wouldn't try to look for healing. For what? There's nothing to heal. So the first point is introspection, to see and to very carefully analyze, but not in a psychological way.
Yeah.
Analyze what you think is wrong with you, what is missing. And then, of course, you can get wonderfully stuck, as all of us know. In all these things, you think, oh, my mother did this to me when I was 4, and my father did that when I was 6. And then the teachers in the school always finding fault with other people who did or didn't do what you or what you expected, and giving the responsibility away to others, to society, to religion, to whatever. So the first point is to bring it home, bring it back to yourself, take responsibility, and say, okay, I feel maybe not enough as I am, not good enough. Something is wrong with me. I should be other than what I am. And then see how you can solve that. I give you an example. One of the things I do is family constellations,
Yeah.
which many of you listeners will be aware of. And after a while, I realized that, oh, I always wanted to have a family. I didn't then when I started, but I had this deep desire to have a family. I'm very family oriented. If you put me into a house with kids and grandkids, 50 of them making a big mess, I'm happy. I couldn't be happier than that. So, but I always chose partners in the past who didn't want to have a family, but I missed it, longing for it. Then I came across the family constellation therapy, and I thought, oh, that's a beautiful thing. I started to work with it, and then after a while, I realized that that's just a substitute. I'm trying to heal other people's family issues and haven't solved my own. And
Yeah.
then something very funny happened. There was a congress in Cologne, in Germany, of my teacher Bert Hellinger about family constellations. There were hundreds of participants. It was this very hot summer, perhaps you remember 2006 in Germany, like a kind of a Greek summer in Germany. Beautiful weather, clear blue skies for weeks on end. And our daughter was, maybe it was 2005. I don't remember either one of those years. So she was small, under less than a year, I think. And she was in a hammock, laying in a hammock with my wife. We had a beautiful garden, big garden. They were playing and swinging, and I was sitting in this congress for family therapy. And when I realized that they are at home and I am here trying to fix my own problem, I realized that I've already fixed the problem. I got up and left. I never went back. Yeah, I paid a lot of money to join that Congress, but I realized that I don't have to fix my own problem anymore. It's done. And afterwards, and this is very nice. Yeah? So it doesn't mean that I stopped the work,
Yeah.
but afterwards, I started to work differently because now I can really be there for other people. I don't have to solve my own problem because it's done.
Mm.
Yeah, nice. So think about how come you got into the healing profession? What's
Mm.
the purpose? Why do you think that you are not as you should be? What is it? What's the source of that? Then you eliminate that,
Mm.
and then you're free. And then you can really help people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
But
is a soul searching adventure that I suppose never stops.
mm. Then it's a lot about coming back to you, huh? Always coming back to, you said, to home. Um, what if you really point out what you want to let go, but it's so hard, like that how do you really let go of that?
That's a good question because we know that we all have issues. If you look at your life, if you look back at your life, you see patterns.
Mm.
I do, very clearly so, that you always get into a similar situation again and again and again, and you think, okay, now I solved it. Now I'm beyond fixed. And then a few years later, you find yourself in the same situation again, maybe in a completely different field. So
Different
look at
shape, yeah.
different shape, look at those patterns and realize that whatever happens, all the challenges that happen in our lives are potential for solution,
Mm.
for learning, whatever, whether it's a financial difficulty or a personal difficulty or an illness, all of these things have the potential to show us who we are.
Mm.
Yeah? Like, so take your challenges like somebody who's on a sightseeing trip, yeah? And he
Mm.
goes, "Paul, bankruptcy, look at that. Incredible, like a beautiful mountain. Yeah? Wow. Oh, sickness. How beautiful, like the sea, endless, uh, unconquerable. Wow, incredible. Yeah? So look at the challenges that appear in your life like that as teachers that can teach you who you are.
Mm.
And don't think, oh, this terrible thing happened to me. Why to me?
Mm.
I'm such a good boy. Why it's happening to me? Why it's not happening to the mean characters out there? Yeah, so it's a really interesting
Mm.
situation. We come here on Earth, I suppose, yeah, to find ourselves. And this finding ourselves, when I was younger, I thought was some kind of key moment,
Mm.
like enlightenment or whatever you want to call it, self realization. These are all big words. But something happens and you're not as you should be, and suddenly, poof, all the problems disappear, and there's
Mm.
just milk and honey, and you're smiling all the time, and you're in such a space, and you're so happy. But that's not how it is. The Japanese, they have a beautiful ideal or image of self realization, which is that maybe you have a key moment, an intense experience in your life, and we all of us had, you may not have realized, but it was there. And then you, with every moment, you deepen that experience more and more, like a flower, like a lotus flower opening its petals in slow motion, one by one by one. And when that flower is fully open, game over. Then you die.
Mm.
So it's not that we should long for one boom explosion and then everything is beautiful. No, it's a process. It's a process.
Mm.
Keep unfolding, keep unfolding, keep reflecting, and keep bringing the arrow of attention always inwards,
Mm.
but not in an egoistic way, but in with humility.
Yeah, yeah.
You look at yourself with humility and love and compassion the same way that you look at others.
Which is not always easy, right? That's, um, I guess it's really hard to go in this. How did you, which word did you use? Like as a sightseeing inside of your life, right? And being so amazed about everything that you encounter. But sometimes we have judgment, right? Through what we see. How how to stay open, as you said, as this sightseeing observation without having attachment, with to what you see, or a judgment that is positive, negative, or something like that.
I think that the first important thing to realize is that we don't strive for, let's say, perfection,
Mm,
that there is no perfection, that life goes in cycles or in peaks and valleys, and there are times when you do this well, when you introspect well, and there are also times when you don't, when you
mm,
are preoccupied with something, and give your space, give yourself the space to experience both and not be upset that when you cannot react appropriately, because there will be times when you can't, and that's all right. You learn from those.
mm,
So if you get drawn into the world, into the samsara, the world of illusions, what to do? It happens.
mm,
Give yourself the space to be drawn in, and then when your awareness returns, then okay, let it go in a small way. In meditation, this is a very good example. When you sit with the aim to be a witness to what's happening, the thoughts coming and going, and all of that. And when you're in a, let's say, in a relaxed space,
mm,
that's easy. But there are times when you are not, and you can't stop the movement of thought process. And you get so busy, and just accept it. Say, okay, now we're busy. Now there's chaos.
mm.
Let's watch the chaos.
Yeah. Just
And
observing what is, huh? Yeah.
just observing what it is. And sometimes it's so beautiful, and of course, then you get hooked and think, today meditate, and it's going to be like yesterday. 2 3 days ago, I had a very deep meditation. We always sit with my wife every day in the afternoon for an hour, and it was so deep and nothing, and just space and peace and and then the next day I was thinking, oh, now today I'm going to have that again. Of course, I didn't. And that's the point, to learn to accept that
Mm,
sometimes you just can't react as appropriately as you can at other times. Give yourself that space.
mm,
The same way that you give the space to, let's say, your parents or your partner or so. You give them the space to be as they are, with the difficulties, with the challenges, with the pain in the neck. If you love somebody deeply, you like, I sometimes think if the genie would come out of the bottle suddenly and say, "Poor man, you saved me. I've been in here for 350 years. You have one wish. You could change your wife to be perfect." Perfect. I would put the lid back on the bottle and say to the genie to bugger off, because I don't want her as she is, exactly as she is, with her trips, her faults, her challenges. Now, why do I not give that same freedom to myself? What's behind that? So you treat people with different measures.
Yeah.
For others, maybe you're open and you're patient. You know me, I'm in the workshops, I'm infinitely patient. But sometimes with myself, I'm not. Why do I not give the same space to myself that I give to others? And that brings us again to that same point where we started, because I think something is wrong with me, something is not right. So this is the root of all evil that has to come out, to understand that we are all the same. We're all in the same boat. We all come out of space. Before we in Zen, there's one of the koans is, what was your face before you were born? And I don't know if I'm getting it right, but probably it refers to that infinite space that is always here, that we come out of and at some point return to again. And in between, it's everywhere, but we don't pay attention to it. So start to pay attention to that spaciousness, that you may call it divinity, always sounds a little bit too romantic, maybe. Pay attention to that. And when you find that within yourself, you also find it with everybody else. And then you realize that we're all made of the same material, like the waves in the sea. Yeah? One wave comes, it disappears, the next one comes. Is that different from the first, or is it the same?
Yeah.
Yes, it's in a way different, maybe different shape, and a different velocity, but the material that it is made of is exactly the same. And once you realize that sameness in all things and in all beings, then learn to include yourself in that too. It's
Yeah.
always easy to project out, but take it in. In, like I said earlier, in a humble way.
Yeah.
Not because you're great, but because you're the same.
Yeah.
So one example for that would be, or one technique, I don't know, that I thought of, is when you look at the mirror, look at yourself with the same love that you have for your partner, for your friends, for your children, for your parents, for your cat, for your apple tree in the garden, whatever. So the same love, the same compassion, the same embrace what is, in a humble way.
Yes.
Test it out. It's nice to do. And then, of course, it's tempting to look in the mirror and go like, "Oh, I'm beautiful today. Oh, look at those lips here. Oh, yeah." We don't want to do that. Just look at yourself and give yourself space.
Mm. Give yourself space, yeah.
Reminds me, I can show off now my Greek language skills. In Greek, the word for forgiveness, which is a tricky word for, I
Mm.
think, in English, in German, the same. That implies somehow that, okay, Nina, you have done something nasty to me, yeah? But because I'm such a good guy, I forgive you.
Mm.
But who am I to forgive something?
Mm.
And something to you? Am I better than you? Am I superior to you?
Mm.
So in the Greek language, the word for forgiveness means to give space to something. And this
Beautiful.
is nice.
Very
Give it
nice.
space, which means you're saying to that, you too have the right to be part of the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very powerful, huh? To give the space, huh? Um, I am thinking right now. Of course, this is when we talk about ourselves and what surrounds the people that are in our lives, for example. But what about what's happening in the world? You know, like when you see, you look at the news, for example, and it seems like there's so much chaos, injustice, which is also probably a judgment, right? But yeah, we can tend to identify to this injustice from the big leaders, for example, nowadays. And so how, in these times of global unrest and chaos, crisis, wars, for example, how can we stay connected and compassionate and stay in that space, as you said? It's hard.
That I'm working on a book at the moment about what's going on
Mm.
without and within. And I just had a conversation with my editor, and she said, usually you're so calm and quiet and peaceful, but you're angry. I read you're angry. And I wrote to her yesterday, I'm not angry. I'm furious.
Mm.
I'm furious at what's going on because this is my world. This is my earth, my trees, my animals, my fellow sisters and brothers
Yeah.
that are being abused. So I have that too, where I just get really furious at
Mm.
what is going on. But at the same time, I know that you cannot dictate change. It's not possible to dictate change from, let's say, a dictator who says, Innina, from now on, you're going to be nice. Arjava, from now on, no more pain in the neck. It doesn't work like that. You can't dictate
Mm.
change. Change it cannot come from the outside in, but can only grow from the inside out. And this is the process that we talked about earlier,
Mm.
that self-reflect and you bring the attention inwards, you take responsibility for what is happening with you, with your life, yourself. Don't project onto others,
Yeah.
but always bring it back home and then dissolve slowly, slowly. And I suppose this is a process that takes the whole life. I don't think we'll ever get there to have dissolved all the pain, the anguish, the nervousness, the irritation, the hurt, the trauma, and all that. But you keep doing it, solve, solve, solve,
Mm.
cleanse. cleanse, 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 and that slowly, slowly, that space of cleanliness, it starts to like like become like an aura around you, thicker and thicker and thicker. First, it touches your family, your partner, your kids, if you have any, your parents, the people around you, your friend, and it goes from there. It goes to more and more and more and more. So instead of trying to change things from the outside or wanting to change them from the outside, change the inside and let that, give it time to grow and radiate out from you.
Yeah.
And that will change your environment. And in those people who are in that environment will feel that, will sense that, and hopefully bring that home into their environment. And then from there it spreads. So these days the political situation is so horrendous. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe sometimes it's good just to turn the telephone or the computer off for a few days and go on a fast. Not the fast of not eating, but not involving yourself in things that you cannot change. The only thing you can change is you. Yeah, that's it. So this is our job. We come here to change ourselves in the sense that we find the diamond within and we polish that more and more. And not with the goal to reach something or to for completion or so. It's a process. A year ago, now it's 2 years ago, I went to Japan and went to a Buddhist temple, and the priest gave like a lecture to the people I went with, including me. And he said, you know, the most important thing is to sow good seeds. And he said, don't be concerned with the outcome.
Yeah.
And I think this is a kind of a secret. Yeah? So you sow good seeds. You're not concerned with whether they're going to grow into trees or plants or anything, but you sow good seeds. You just keep sowing good seeds again and again and again, no purpose, just for itself. Maybe that's the healing.
Yeah.
All our life is healing.
From the
Healing
beginning.
from the beginning, healing of that initial wound where you think that you're not as you should be. I always remember the birth of my kids. I was there both times in the delivery and looking at them just being born, maybe in my arms, or looking at this little baby. And them looking at you with these big eyes, just looking at you. Like this infinite space looking at you. And I'm thinking, what is expected of this child? Okay, from my father's point of view, who is reflective, there is absolutely nothing. I don't expect the girl to become a supermodel or the boy to become a Mr. Universe or a lawyer or a doctor or anything. Nothing. Nothing. You're just as you are, and whether you are blonde or brunette or have dark or light skin, it doesn't matter. You're big or small or tall or thin or fat, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. When the kids are born, it's incredible to see that they're just how they are.
Yeah.
Uh, Perfect. That's the closest, the only thing that I've ever seen that is perfect,
Mm.
absolutely perfect, no flaws.
Mm.
And with the development of the individuality, when we learn to enter duality, to realize that, okay, this is mine.
Mm.
Yeah, that sofa over there is yours. This is my chair, my chair. So when you learn, when the ego, the separate self starts to develop, that's when all the trouble starts.
Mm.
And what do I think everyone notices that in the beginning a child is like that, an empty page, beautiful,
Mm.
perfect. Then stories are written on that page, the development of the self, of the separate self.
Yeah.
And then the the self gets more and more crystallized as you grow up. Yeah, maybe your individuality becomes very acute and strong and powerful, and it becomes more egoistic.
Mm.
And then with time, when you see with elderly people, all that huge ego or
Mm.
the size, the sheer size of this I, huh, get to diminish, and they become softer. And not everyone, but I've seen many times
Yeah.
elder people, some become a real pain, huh, but often
Mm.
they become softer and warmer, and that individuality that we work so hard to achieve, that image, that
Mm.
greatness, wow, me, huh, shrinks, and then you have again the humility kind of that you had when you were a baby.
Mm.
So my suggestion is, instead of waiting for old age
Yeah.
to dissolve that
Mm.
your egoistic tendencies,
Mm.
is to start when you're younger, to dissolve that and go back to your childlike self when you were just gorgeous. And looking at my kids, of course, I didn't think they are so beautiful because of Bhakti, my wife, and me. But in the delivery room, I got it that everyone, all of us, is like that at birth.
Mm.
All of us,
Mm.
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
if we already have that perfection, that experience of the perfection, maybe the child is not aware, is not mentally conscious of what is
Mm.
going on, but the feeling is there. Then you can learn to access that same thing as
Mm.
you grow up. Because all the beautiful values of peace, love, silence, understanding, compassion, all those good kindness, all those good things, we we tend to project them out onto somebody,
Yeah.
a god for a religious person, a guru for a spiritual seeker, a teacher for somebody who's learning some art, because they somehow seem to embody
Yeah.
that. But really, it's something that you know, and the presence of that person just is like an instrument. When you touch a string, it just touches a string in you. It ignites something that you have inside.
Mm.
So stop looking for things outside of yourself.
Yeah. 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 That's
Oh,
powerful. Very powerful. Mm.
now, going back to the idea of healing, when working on people, there are different different kinds of attitudes that you can have. What a lot of people do is they see a client who has either a physical problem or a psychological or emotional challenge, or I would like to call them projects.
Mm.
Somebody who has an emotional project, nice to
Yeah.
have, huh? Because you can fix that. You have the chance to fix it now.
Mm.
So when you treat somebody like that, you can either go in and look at what is wrong in the person,
Yeah.
yeah, or you can go in and look at what is right in the person.
Mm.
That's what I prefer. So
Yeah.
when I see a client with some kind of project, I don't really look at the project, the broken arm or the
Mm.
panic attack or anything, whatever, but I look at what is right.
Mm.
I see there what I saw in my kids when they were born. I see that, I look at that,
Yeah.
I give that space.
Yeah.
And that by looking at that, that spark inside them gets ignited and they have the possibility, the potential to look at that too.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, because most of the time, I guess I guess people come with a request, of course, of fixing the thing that is not, and the focus is all there. So there's no space, as you said, for seeing
Yeah,
what's going well, right? Or to
yeah.
cultivate the things that are already
Yes, and
perfect as they are.
this is, I think, from my point of view, the responsibility of the, I don't want to use the word the healer, but the one
Mm,
who's helping with the project. Huh?
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
responsibility of that person to
Mm,
help the receiver to enter that space where they are just beautiful as they are.
yeah.
And you see somebody with that kind of attitude, with that love you have, with the same tenderness that you have for somebody you love very much, huh? Then
Mm,
things can start to change. But
yeah.
when I look at the other with any kind of judgment, which includes that, okay, this guy has a panic attack, that's not good.
Mm.
I don't like it. It's not right. Yeah? I make myself
Yeah.
bigger, bigger than them, which they feel. They feel inferior. They feel, oh my God, this guy is such a poor. And also, I make myself bigger than life, thinking and acting as if I knew better.
Yeah.
Do I know better? No, I don't know better. So,
Mm.
from that point of view, the panic attack or the broken leg, when I see it, I say, yes, okay, all right, you too, like again, the Greek thing, giving space and say, you too have the right to be here. It's okay. Everything serves a purpose, and that purpose is learning to find out about yourself. Nice, you have the chance.
Mm. Wonderful. Yeah, there's so many things that came to mind because, yeah, I guess one of them what is you talked about how we build the ego during, like from the birth, and then we become, at
Puffed
some
up.
point, yeah, and then it unfolds again. But yeah, one thing I see when I come to your seminars and workshop, and it's something that really made me feel this kando. How can I how can I say kando? Kando is being deeply moved, probably, huh? Or reassured, or it's I had this instant deep respect and affection for you, not in a weird way, huh? Affection, and because yeah, probably your kindness and humility and how approachable you are and loving you are with all of us students, uh, it's and I think sometimes in what we call healing world or holistic world, uh, people, and I include myself as well, we can you touched that before as well. There's this need of identification as the healer or as the teacher, as the master, as the guru, as you said before, right? And it's kind of a trap of ego, no? To fall into this spiritual identity or ego. And why do you think we as human tend to fall into this spiritual ego trap, or as the teacher, the master, the healer? Yeah.
Insecurity,
Mm,
some kind of insecurity, because deep down you know that you don't know yourself deeply.
mm,
So you overcompensate. And don't get me wrong. I also find some kind of deep arrogance within myself at times.
mm,
And I have to look at that and dissolve that. So it's all the process, the important process, I think, is just dissolve, 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 like thinking of yourself as some sugar, sweet, delicious. And it's in a glass of water, and then you add in a glass, and then you add some hot water,
mm,
life,
yeah.
and stir it. The stirring process is what you have to do to dissolve that sugar that becomes one with the liquid.
Wonderful. Yeah.
In terms of healing, my opinion is this. I remember many years ago, somebody had asked me in an interview, who is the greatest healer in the world? And they told me that they had asked some other well-known healers. I don't like that word. Okay, but
Yeah, yeah.
let's use it as a job description.
Exactly.
So who is the best in the world? That they had asked some of the other colleagues that are well known, and one said, "Oh, it's this person, that person, this guru, that," and so on. I was just sitting, I was just laughing and thinking, like, the greatest healer in the world is the human body and mind.
Mm,
They do the healing. We don't.
yeah.
At, at the most, what you can do is remove obstacles as somebody who facilitates the process in others. Maybe you can remove some obstacles,
Mm,
help them remove obstacles so they can start to look at themselves and have an experience of their spaciousness
mm,
themselves. But you don't heal. The body, physically, the body does the healing. Mentally, emotionally, the mind has such an incredible power to unravel, to unfold, and to give space, because there
mm,
is some point you realize that the small mind, that we don't really know where it is, but it's somewhere in there. Is it in my head? Is it in, but it's somewhere in there, yeah? What I call the I mind.
mm.
when that small self and the collective connect and merge. And when you find that there is some kind of merging of the individual with the collective, then you realize that everybody is exactly the same. There's no difference. Nobody's better, nobody's okay, maybe somebody is intellectually very clever. Okay. Somebody else is a better basketball player. Okay. Somebody else plays better. Okay. These are all on the surface, but deep down in the essence, we're all the same. Like the Christian mystics, Meister Eckhart, the German, or Saint John of the Cross, or these people, they kind of said that you don't have a soul, an individual soul, you are swimming in it. It's all there is. It's everywhere around us and within ourselves. So this is I think, the medicine for healing.
Yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. Yeah, yeah. To not put ourselves in the middle of that space that is the space of each person that comes to you, no?
Yeah, you have nothing to do with it really, and the more you stay out of that other person's process, the better. So, as a person in the healing arts, I think it's important first of all to know that you're not doing it, you're not healing. They heal themselves. You
Yeah.
remove obstacles or so, and to also know that you, with your work, hopefully you set some process in motion, their process. That process will go on within them without you.
Yeah, that's
You must
powerful,
know,
huh? Mm.
you must know and trust that you, the healer, the specialist, that you are not needed in this equation. The
Yeah.
process will unravel by itself. And if they need more help, okay, next
Mm.
time you can help some more, but you are not doing it.
Yeah.
You don't have that skill, and really it's not necessary.
Yeah, so that's
And
when, yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah.
I noticed that the most beautiful atmosphere in working with the client happens when I step out.
Yeah. Yeah, to give that space. And I mean, that's when we tend to identify, right, as the healer, as the teacher, as the guru, that we become basically the obstacle in the end, even more. What about projections of others on you? You know, I guess for you as a teacher, you have experience students that project a lot on you, know, and expectations and so what about that in healing? Like what to do with that as a teacher, for example?
You know that people project all sorts of things upon you. So if you're in the teaching profession, you know that if you're a lady, they will maybe project their mom on you. If you're a gentleman, they might project their dad in you. So when you hear them talking to you, you listen carefully. And sometimes you realize, they're not talking to me, they're talking to their dad. So I don't take it. I hear it. but I know this conflict is not directed towards me, or this projection has nothing to do with me. It has to do with something in there.
Mm.
They are past, and if they are reflective, maybe I will say, I think you're talking to your dad at the moment, but I don't say it
No,
with
no.
this, but lovingly saying like, could that be, And then, oops, yeah, they realized there's a
Mm.
projection. When you get projections all the time in your work, of course, it's a danger that you might overestimate yourself in some way. And for me, what I always suggest to people who are in this kind of work is to make sure that they keep some of their social contacts from long ago,
Yeah.
before they were that person. Yeah,
Mm.
so my best friend, he died 4 years ago. We knew each other from before kindergarten,
Oh.
and we always kept that friendship up. And whenever he felt that I'm going somewhere into la la land with my work, he would just smack me. This is the danger
Mm.
of, let's say, a well-known teacher, that there comes a point where they surround themselves only with their students who will not put the mirror in their face,
Yeah.
but their respect and their love and everything, and their projection. So it's good to keep contact with some people with whom you don't have that relationship.
Mm.
If you're in a relationship with, like a romantic relationship with a partner, that would be perfect, but not everybody has that.
Yeah.
So here, let's say we mirror each other all the time. And when I'm going off the rails, my wife will go like that.
Uh,
Yes? So keep somebody who will mirror you, close to
mm,
you, so
yeah.
you don't think of yourself as God's gift to humanity.
Yeah, that's so important, no? To stay grounded with your feet, on the ground. Mm.
This is one. The other is pay attention to the thing we cannot name. We've been talking, beating around the bush for an hour now. It's saying the thing, the deathless, the changeless, the eternal, the space, the essence, the self, the real self. Pay attention to that.
Mm.
I'm telling you, all of us have the possibility to access that beauty and transcendence. So pay attention to that. And by paying attention to that, it takes the wind out of the sail of ego. And then you don't get tempted.
Mm.
Don't get tempted and you don't get tricked. After a while, ego, once you learn to identify it, what it is, and hear its voice, and
Mm.
I guess we hear. So let's say I'm fighting with my wife. We do fight too. We have separate identities and ego and self. And I'm fighting with her, I'm arguing with her, and inside I hear the voice that says, Arjava, stop. But I don't. Yeah, because I get identified. Also, in other situations, you have that access to the thing that we can't name. Listen, listen to it, make an effort, and you learn it by not doing it, by failing. by failing again and again gives you incentive that I really want to learn how to listen to that and to let that guide me instead of the small self. So this is a big project. And in the end, all the healing that you might be doing starts here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Absolutely.
project it out.
Mm.
Don't think I'm going to fix Innina. Now I'm going to fix your problem.
No.
Arjava, fix your own problem now.
Mm.
This
Mm.
is where we start. We start at home.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe coming back to our listeners that are new to all this, to exploring healing, let's say the word healing, right? In this sense of self-exploration, let's say. What's a simple first step that they can take, like practically? I don't know if you have suggestions or if you can guide us through a, something very easy to do in everyday life. What would it be?
In everyday life, I think the main thing is to understand that we are here to learn about ourselves.
Mm.
So whatever happens, take the opportunity to go inside and piece by piece break your cultural conditioning. This is really hard to do.
Ooh.
Your religious conditioning, your social conditioning, all the things that you have learned from childhood, from the beginning of the formation of the separate self. Because that's not just you, that's society, it's your parents,
Mm.
it's your school, it's your religion, it's the place you grew up in. In Germany, the rules are different from Italy, are different from Japan, are different from Latin America. All of that thing that really is not you, but is around you and has made you in the way that you see yourself now, slowly question all those things, not like in a psychological way, but look at them.
Mm.
Where does it come from? Is it mine? Does it serve me? And if it's not mine and doesn't serve me, let it go.
Mm.
So this is an incredible process that, yeah, but this is what it is. And once I had an idea for a short story
Mm.
when thinking about how do you dis- dissolve
Mm. Yeah.
your patterns.
Ooh.
And the image I had was somebody who finds that the electric lines in their house are faulty because they're old, the wires are broken, and maybe bad materials and all that. And that process of freeing yourself from your conditioning is like pulling all those wires out of the wall. And for that, you have to chisel away the plaster that hides those wires and pull them all out and put in a new wiring that is
Mm.
entirely yours. It's a painful process,
Mm.
but beautiful.
Yeah. We need to do our part. It's not something that happens like this, right?
No, not. It's a lifelong adventure. Maybe the first thing I would suggest to somebody who goes on this kind of journey is to make a decision. Say, okay, now on, I'm gonna soul search and find myself and look at myself and get to know get to know myself better. In the
Mm.
same way, if you fall in love with somebody and you see their beauty
Mm.
only, their divinity, and you just go like, oh, so beautiful. And then with time, with time you start to see the things that are a little bit challenging.
Mm.
With ourselves, maybe it's the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
We see the challenging things first, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
But go through it, go through the challenging part, and start to look at the beauty in your own eyes. Slowly, slowly.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Mm.
As far as healing is concerned, I think it's kind of simple. My suggestion would be, first of all, don't think of yourself as a healer.
Mhm.
Don't think that you know better than life, because when somebody comes with a broken arm, that's a fact.
Yeah.
The arm is, deal with it.
Yeah.
Don't don't have a judgment about illness. Don't try to change something, but take it as it is. Do what you do to help. Don't have an idea of a result, like we said earlier. Sow good seeds. Don't
Mm.
think about what's going to come out of it, whether they do something with it or not. Because this is often a difficulty where you pour your love and attention
Yeah.
into somebody. They have a potential for unfolding, but they don't.
Mm.
Then you're like, oh man, I did all this and then. So just sow good seeds.
Yeah.
No judgment for any condition, because think that any condition, whether it's a psycho-emotional thing or a physical thing, is the potential for learning. And that's
Mm.
good. But take it like that.
Mm.
And don't think you know better
Yeah.
than life. No, so for in terms of illness, we in Reiki, we maybe we think an illness is the way of the body containing the toxicity
Mm.
that has arisen,
A reason, I guess.
whatever, either one,
Yeah.
containing it so it doesn't toxify the whole body. So in a way,
Mm.
the illness doing you a favor,
Yeah.
containing the damage and wishing for you to live as long as you can.
Mm.
Maybe a good way to look at that. And with psycho-emotional things, the same.
Yeah.
It's the way of the self to contain the damage and to help you function better. Look
Yeah.
at it like that. And when you see an illness or accident or some kind of psychological issue, look at
Mm.
them with love.
Mm.
The Austrian mystic Rudolf Steiner, he says somewhere in one of his incredible books, you can only heal an illness that you love.
Yeah. That's
Yeah?
very
Maybe not so
powerful, huh?
easy,
Mm.
especially the most difficult. Yeah?
Mm.
But keep that in mind. You pour your love out, and that love is unconditional. It doesn't need results. It doesn't need
Mm.
even appreciation. You
Yeah.
just do it for them. So good seeds.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Arjav. I'm just uh, so grateful for, every time we talk together, there's so many layers in the words you use, and it's a teaching every time. So thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Don't don't get the wrong idea.
Mm.
It's not that great wisdom
Mm.
is there and I have it as my at my disposal and I know all these things. It's not like that. It just comes out by itself.
Yeah.
And it's because for that it's also good for me.
Mm. But it's wonderful to be able to create that space then together, and whatever comes out, to be able to share it with others. Yeah.
So perhaps as a good end point would be
Hmm.
that we we know only the conscious part of ourselves by definition.
Mm.
And the unconscious, when I was younger, I always thought unconscious equals bad. Ah, Arjava, you're unconscious.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Unconscious, you want to do this, consciously you want to do that. And there's conflict. But over the years, I've learned to see the unconscious as a great source of inspiration that we don't know about, but it's there. And that maybe with time you can learn to open yourself up to that.
Yeah.
And the easiest way I find to do it is just to ask.
Mm.
Say, okay, I have an issue, I have maybe an illness, maybe a psycho-emotional issue, a project that I want to do, any situation, instead of sitting down and racking my brain and thinking, oh, what am I gonna do with the finances, with the business, with the family, my body, with all these things that we
Mm.
struggle with.
Mm. Mm.
Instead of doing that, racking my brain somewhere, I just say, okay, I talk to the unconscious and say, I trust you, baby. Let me know when you're ready, when your time, just let me know, and then I forget about it. And then perhaps when you're in a quiet place like today, after I took a shower,
Mm.
I have to start somewhere else. I have to write a foreword for one of my old books that I published in 99 in
Mm.
German. And again, I don't want to sit there and think, oh, what am I going to write after 20, almost 30 years of
Yeah.
public? What to say? What should I? Maybe I should read it again. Maybe blah, 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 blah. Stop.
Mm.
So I said to myself last night when I went to bed, knowing that today I have to write the thing, just let me know to the
Mm.
unconscious, just let me know in your own time. And then in the morning, I was taking a shower, got out of the shower, started to dry myself off. Ding! It was, it
Wonderful.
was poof, done.
Yeah.
The unconscious is incredible. It's a
Mm.
wealth of, it's incredible. Trust it.
Yeah.
Trust it and give your hands into that. Maybe in a religious way, people can call that God or so,
Mm.
whatever name, it doesn't matter. Huh?
Mm.
Trust that there is much more
Mm.
wisdom
Yeah.
that fit into this little container
Mm.
here.
And also trust that it comes in the right moment, right? Because it otherwise it's control. It's just like, you know,
So
asking with the expectation of a precise result. Instead, when you keep the space open, wow, right?
this it's for experimentation for every one of us.
Mm.
Find out how you can how that works for you, and what works for me may not work for you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
do it like that. I say, okay, guys, Baby, tell me whenever you're ready. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm available. And then I forget about it.
Mm.
I was telling Bhakti, my wife, about it in the morning. She said, "Yeah, but what if it doesn't come?"
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, empirically, it has been proven in my situation, my life, that the answer does come. It does. It always does.
Mm.
Trust it. Learn to trust. Just give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up and say, "Let me know when you're ready." And then probably when you least expect it, suddenly, poof, it's all there.
It's all about the trust that we maybe talked in the last episode, right? Like, yeah. Mm.
It's a really big subject, trust.
Mm.
Some people grow up, I grew up with the kind of unshakable trust in the goodness of life, of the
Yeah.
universe. I don't know, I don't want to make it too big, but some kind of,
Mm.
what's the word in German? Urvertrauen. Ur means ancient or old, and Vertrauen is trust. It's just
Yeah.
like a trust in the benevolence of life.
Yeah.
I grew up with it. I always had that from childhood, and I'm not sure how you could teach that to somebody. I'm still thinking about that. If you don't have it naturally, if you have it naturally, pay attention to it.
Mm. Yeah. Beautiful. Wonderful, Arjava. We're slowly arriving. I'm checking at the end of the episode. So, thank you again so much for this wonderful time spent together. It's always a joy, such a joy, to spend time talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening, and a heartfelt thank you to Arjava for his presence, his words. Thank you to all of you for being here with us until the very end. You can find me on social media, and all the links are available in the show notes down below. Feel free to share your thoughts, your feelings, or simply continue this experience in the comments. May this listening or watching accompany you with gentleness and kindness. See you very soon for the next episode, and in the meantime, take care.